Guy Britton here, thanks for joining me today. In this video, we're going to be looking at how we can achieve much smoother sounding pop vocals using the brand new Curves Equator plugin from Waves Audio. Now, Curves Equator is, as Waves say, a smarter resonance suppression and frequency unmasking plugin which immediately improves any full mix, vocal, instrument or sample by removing all the problematic frequencies, fixing resonances and balancing inconsistencies. More importantly, it learns your content and safeguards your work, offering a personalized resonance suppression curve to avoid over-processing. So what does that mean in real terms? Well, I'm going to be using this plugin to remove some harshness from this vocal, which I'll play you in a sec. It's a pop mix with quite a lot of mid-range harshness, around about the 2K area in the vocal. There's some transients which are cutting through, which are not particularly pleasant. So we're going to be using Curves Equator as the last plugin in the vocal chain to round off that vocal, make it sound much more finished and much more polished. So let me play you a bit of this track. I've currently got all of the vocals running to this lead vocal bus down here called LVS, lead vocals. And you'll see that I've got Curves Equator ready to go. I'll open that plugin up in a second, show you all the controls and how we're going to be using it. But first, let me play you a bit of this mix and you'll hear where the harshness is coming through and those problem areas that we're going to target.
Every time I look at the ceiling, it's like every thought in my mind's freewheeling. Why can't they crawl out and work together, making sweet, sweet gold? Not got a job, but I've got a lot of feelings. Doesn't do a lot to make me appealing. I see stars everywhere, but can never take cold. So how's it supposed to be? How it's supposed to be? If you were me, you'd see it differently. I only ask cause I'm drink driving so fast, something's gotta give soon. But when we're burning up, I feel so in love. Tell me every single thing in the world was built for us. I only ask cause I'm drink driving so fast in this room. But when I drink to you. All the money and the time I lose, all the money and the time I lose. But when I drink to you. All the money and the time I lose, all the money and the time I lose.
So it's a strong vocal performance, which sounds really good in the track, but there is quite a lot of harshness in that mid-range, which I want to get rid of. So as I said, I've got some basic processing going on with these 4 plugins and then some effect sends and stuff going on down here. We're not going to go through all of this. I'm just going to open up the Waves Curves Equator plugin, which is here. You'll see the interface initially is very simple. There's only 3 controls here, which is the shape control, the tilt control, and then this, which is essentially a threshold control for the amount of resonance suppression that's going to happen with this plugin. I'll talk through all this in much more detail as we go, but the first thing that we need to do is capture the vocal in this plugin by using this learn button up here. And what that's going to do is it's going to capture the audio and then it's going to learn the frequency content of the vocal, and it's going to hopefully apply what it believes to be the best form of resonance suppression curve to that vocal to help smooth it out. So if I play the track back and hit this learn button, Curves Equator is going to capture the audio and then give us a starting point for some frequency suppression, which is going to smooth out this vocal.
Every time I look at the ceiling, it's like every thought in my mind's freewheeling. Why can't they crawl out and work together, making sweet, sweet gold? Not got a job, but I've got a lot of feelings. Doesn't do a lot to make me appealing. I see stars everywhere, but can never take cold.
We're just going to hit apply here, and that's going to apply this frequency suppression curve to the whole vocal. And what this is showing us is the areas in which these resonances are being suppressed. And if I play this back, you'll hear when I adjust this control here, it's going to change the threshold of this suppression. So the more we bring it down, the more suppression is happening. The more we push it up, the less suppression is happening. So let's just take a listen to what that sounds like straight out, and we'll hear what that's doing to suppress some of that harshness within the vocal.
Every time I look at the ceiling, it's like every thought in my mind's freewheeling. Why can't they crawl out and work together, making sweet, sweet gold? Not got a job, but I've got a lot of feelings. Doesn't do a lot to make me appealing. I see stars everywhere, but can never take cold.
So obviously if I bring it all the way down, the vocal sounds kind of muted and horrible because we've taken way too much out of it. But it's just doing a little bit there to take away some of that mid-range harshness. And what we can do is adjust now the amount which is happening in that mid-range or the amount which is happening in the lower mid by using this tilt shift. So what that's then going to do is tilt the focus. If we turn it this way, it's going to tilt the focus more towards the low mids and less towards this upper mid area. Whereas if we go the other way, it's going to do the opposite, and it's going to give us more upper mid-range suppression and less lower mid-range suppression, which I think is probably what we want. So let's take a listen to that. If I'm going to adjust the threshold now and the tilt curve and see if that helps to just smooth out some of that harshness a little bit more.
Every time I look at the ceiling, it's like every thought in my mind's freewheeling. Why can't they crawl out and work together, making sweet, sweet gold? Not got a job, but I've got a lot of feelings. Doesn't do a lot to make me appealing. I see stars everywhere, but can never take cold. So how's it supposed to be? How it's supposed to be? If you were me, you'd see it differently. I only ask cause I'm driving so fast. Something's gotta give soon. Every time I look at the ceiling, it's like every thought in my mind's freewheeling. Why can't they crawl out and work together, making sweet, sweet gold?
Okay, that already sounds smoother, but if we want to be even more precise and start targeting some of the real problem areas, what we can do is now start to add some nodes in here. So it says up here, double click to add a node. This will allow you to surgically edit the threshold curve and draw in your desired reduction curve. So we can add these little pockets now where we increase the threshold even more. So I'm going to aim for this sort of 2.5K area around here somewhere, which I think is really where the problem is. And let's take a listen to that and see if that's helping to reduce the harshness even more.
Every time I look at the ceiling, it's like every thought in my mind's freewheeling. Why can't they crawl out and work together, making sweet, sweet gold? Not got a job, but I've got a lot of feelings. Doesn't do a lot to make me appealing. I see stars everywhere, but can never take. Every time I look at the ceiling, it's like every thought in my mind's freewheeling. Why can't they crawl out and work together, making sweet, sweet gold? Not got a job, but I've got a lot of feelings. Doesn't do a lot to make me appealing. I see stars everywhere, but
if we go down to this little triangle here, we can listen to what frequencies it's targeting.
every time I look at the ceiling, it's like every thought in my mind's freewheeling. Why can't they crawl out and work together, making sweet, sweet gold? Not got a job, but I've got a lot of feelings. Doesn't do a lot to make me appealing. I see stars everywhere, but can never take.
Cool, that's really helping to get rid of some of that mid-range harshness. But what it is doing, I'm finding, is it's attacking the low mids a little bit too much, and some of that warmth is coming out of the vocal now. So in order to combat that, what we can do is we can go down to this advanced controls down here, and this brings up this multi-band crossover, much like you'd see in a multi-band compressor. And now we can use this to adjust the amount which is being applied to each band frequency. So in this case, I'm going to target the whole sort of low mid area from somewhere around about let's say, where's this, 150 hertz ish, 147 hertz, right up to about 1K. And then we can use this control here to adjust the amount of reduction which is being applied in the frequency suppression to that specific band. So let's move that up here somewhere so we're not controlling so much low mid resonance. And then let's adjust this frequency crossover to somewhere around about, let's say, 6K. And let's apply a little bit more. Well, let's take a listen to this in a minute and see what that sounds like. And then we're also going to work on this sibilance up here. So let's play that back and see what that sounds like and see if we're maybe not targeting that low mid so much is going to bring a bit of that warmth back into the vocal.
Every time I look at the ceiling, it's like every thought in my mind's freewheeling. Why can't they crawl out and work together, making sweet, sweet gold? Not got a job, but I've got a lot of feelings. Doesn't do a lot to make me appealing. I see stars everywhere, but can never take cold. So how's it supposed to be? Every time I look at the ceiling, it's like every thought in my mind's freewheeling. Why can't they crawl out and work together, making sweet, sweet gold?
Yeah, that's much smoother. I feel like that mid-range is really being dialed back and it's not so harsh anymore. It doesn't really feel so transient. It doesn't feel like it's like ice pick in my ear. You know, it sounds much smoother. And that's super simple, just applying this one little notch around about 2.2K and then just applying a bit more resonance suppression to that band and then less in this low mids. So we're still allowing some of that warmth of the vocal through and it's not suppressing that low mid too much, which makes it sound kind of thin. What I want to finally do now is target the upper frequencies here and deal with some of the sibilance which is coming through in this vocal. It's not overly sibilant, but I'm finding it is a little bit harsh. So we could probably do something about that. So I'm going to add another node in here somewhere around about, let's say 7K, and we're going to use the shelf filter in this case rather than the bell filter that we were using before down here. So we're just going to apply a bit of that. Let's adjust the Q so that it has a bit more of a slope on it, something like that. And let's take a listen to what this is doing. Then we can go back into the advanced controls and see how much of that amount we need to apply to this.
Every time I look at the ceiling, it's like every thought in my mind's freewheeling. Why can't they crawl out and work together, making sweet, sweet gold? Not got a job, but I've got a lot of feelings. Doesn't do a lot to make me appealing. I see stars everywhere, but can never take cold.
Let's just adjust that again. Let's actually change that to a bell filter And if I double click on here, we can disable or enable the frequency. So I'm going to try and target where I think actually a lot of this is coming around about 7K somewhere. So let's just take a look at that and target that a bit more.
Every time I look at the ceiling, it's like every thought in my mind's freewheeling. Why can't they crawl out and work together, making sweet, sweet gold? Not got a job, but I've got a lot of feelings. Doesn't do a lot to make me appealing. I see stars everywhere, but can never take cold. Every time I look at the ceiling, it's like every thought in my mind's freewheeling. Why can't they crawl out and work together, making sweet, sweet gold? Not got a job, but I've got a lot of feelings. Doesn't do a lot to make me appealing. I see stars everywhere, but can never take cold. So how's it supposed to be? How it's supposed to be? If you were me, you'd see it differently. I only ask cause I'm driving so fast. Something's gotta give soon. But when we're burning up, I feel so in love. Tell me every single thing in the world was built for us. I only ask cause I'm driving so fast in this room. But when I drink to you. All the money and the time I lose. All the money and the time I lose.
Cool, that's doing so much for me in a way that an EQ alone or a multi-band compressor just isn't quite able to do. These extra features, the precision of this is so nice. It's really helpful in targeting the harshness in this vocal. And if you want to be even more granular with it, there are these attack and release controls, as well as this precision control, which allows you to be even more specific about what you're targeting. But I don't feel that we necessarily need to use them in this case. What we've done so far sounds really good, and I think it's doing loads to really help make that vocal much smoother and much less harsh. What I love as well is there's also this mix control, so we can also bring in a bit more of the dry, unprocessed signal, which is going to be particularly great if you're using this as like a de-esser and to really get rid of the sibilance. Having a mix control is a really nice feature because sometimes it's easy to overcook the amount that's being applied. And we can also, you know, if you find, for example, and there's different sections where you want to apply more of it or less of it, then you can automate that mix control. You could target the mid-range in the verse, for example, and then when it comes to the chorus, apply less of that depending on what the vocal needs. In this case, we're going to leave it at that. I think that sounds really good. Let me play a bit of this vocal back and we'll take a listen to that before and after of what this is doing and see how much this is smoothing that vocal out.
Every time I look at the ceiling, it's like every thought in my mind's freewheeling. Why can't they crawl out and work together, making sweet, sweet gold? Not got a job, but I've got a lot of feelings. Doesn't do a lot to make me appealing. I see stars everywhere, but can never take cold. So how's it supposed to be? How it's supposed to be? If you were me, you'd see it differently. I only ask cause I'm driving so fast. Something's gotta give soon. But when we're burning up, I feel so in love. Tell me every single thing in the world was built for us. I only ask cause I'm driving so fast in this room.
And there you have it. I think this plugin is absolutely great. I think Waves have smashed it out of the park with Curves Equator, particularly for instances like this where we're trying to remove the harshness in a vocal. It's so quick and intuitive to use, super simple, and you can also be way more granular with it and way more detailed like I show you in the video. There's also loads of stuff we haven't got around to covering in this video, such as the ability to sidechain, to strap it across a mix, and to use the sidechain to create pockets of space for the vocal. So I definitely recommend you go and check it out and explore what other features you can do with this, because honestly, this plugin is great. And it's going to save you so much time and ultimately give you better mixes. So if you're interested in checking out the Curves Equator from Waves, I've left a link in the description below. You can go and get that right now after this video. In the meantime, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.